Like the original novel, Dune Part 2 ends with Paul taking control of the imperial throne, and to strengthen his claim, he marries Princess Irulan in a political move. But not everyone is happy with the new leader. The movie ends with things uncertain as Paul faces challenges to his rule and relies on his powerful Fremen army to back him up. With the political landscape in turmoil, fans are eagerly anticipating for the next chapter of Paul's journey. The good news is that Denis Villeneuve is officially working on Dune 3, and it has been confirmed by Variety. Let's delve into what we can expect from this highly anticipated sequel. Dune Messiah picks up about 12 years after the events of Dune. Ruling as emperor isn't sunshine and sandworms for Paul Atreides. The Fremen Jihad, his supposed path to liberation, has left a trail of devastation across the galaxy, with over 60 billion dead. Haunted by these visions of the future, Paul feels the terrible weight of this cost on his shoulders. His prescient abilities, once a source of strength, have morphed into a burden. Paul's burden of leadership is a complex web of guilt, fear, and isolation. The sheer number of lives lost in the jihad cripples him with guilt and regret. His prescience, once an advantage, now paralyzes him. He sees all possible outcomes, trapped in a web of possibilities, unable to choose the right path without facing unforeseen consequences. The burden of leadership often isolates the leader, and Paul likely struggles to confide in anyone. The weight of responsibility and the constant knowledge of the future can chip away at his sense of self. He questions his own motivations and actions, wondering if he's become the very tyrant he sought to overthrow. Even among the Fremen, not everyone trusts Paul completely. Some people, who haven't been swept up in the religious excitement, are starting to doubt if he's really a messiah. They see him as a regular person, not a holy figure, and they miss the simpler life they had before Paul's holy war began. But Paul's troubles don't stop there. Powerful groups like the Bene Gesserit, the Spacing Guild, and the Tleilaxu are all unhappy with Paul's rule. These groups used to have a lot of control, but Paul is messing with their plans. They're angry and want to take him down. They're working together in secret to destroy Paul, using all their money and influence to make it happen. On the other hand, the love story that captivated audiences in the Dune 2 takes a tragic turn in Dune Messiah. The movie's ending changes things for Chani. Unlike the book where she stays with Paul, the movie shows her rebelling against his rule. This opens the door for a more dramatic role for Chani in the next movie. She could become the leader of a Fremen resistance, fighting to preserve their traditions. Or she might even defy Paul while still carrying his children, the future Atreides heirs. This would create an interesting tension. A mother devoted to her children, but also a rebel fighting for her people. Either way, expect Chani to play a much bigger and more complex role in Part 3. Unlike the baby glimpsed in the second movie, Dune Messiah features Alia as a fully realized adult. This shift by director Villeneuve for Part 3 means we'll see a complex and powerful Alia, not a teenager wrestling with newfound maturity. The time skip in the next movie allows them to avoid the more provocative elements present in the book. Alia's role in Dune Messiah is multifaceted. Within Fremen society, she's become a revered figure, Saint Alia of the Knife, due to her unique ability to access the memories of her ancestors. This ancestral wisdom fuels her unwavering loyalty to her brother Paul. Fueled by this loyalty and a keen political mind, Alia delves into the conspiracies swirling around Paul's reign. Expect to see Anya Taylor-Joy return, but this time as a captivating and formidable Alia. She'll navigate the treacherous political landscape, wielding her ancestral knowledge and unwavering faith to protect Paul and potentially shape the future of Arrakis. Irulan's role in Dune Messiah might be more complex than the movie portrays. While the film shows her as conniving and manipulative, the novel hints at a potential change of heart. Several factors could contribute to this shift. Firstly, Irulan has always been a pawn in other people's games. The Bene Gesserit, her father, and even potentially Paul. This lack of control over her own life might lead her to crave independence and forge her own path. Secondly, the Bene Gesserit constantly belittle Irulan, viewing her as less than a true adept. This frustration could push her to rebel against their control and their plans for her. There's also the possibility that Irulan develops a grudging respect for Paul. Despite his coldness towards her, he never forces himself up on her. This, along with some level of sympathy for the burden he carries, might lead to a hidden loyalty. Finally, self-preservation is a powerful motivator. As the conspiracy against Paul unfolds, Irulan might choose to side with whoever she believes will ultimately win. The reasons for Irulan's potential shift are open to interpretation, but the possibility of her aligning with Paul, even for practical reasons, adds another layer of intrigue to the story. Remember Duncan, Idaho, the loyal swordsman who perished in the first movie? Well, he will be back in Dune Messiah, but not quite in the way you might expect. The Tleilaxu, those creepy masters of genetic manipulation, have created a Gola, a clone of Duncan. This new Duncan, called Hate, is presented as a gift to Paul, but his true purpose is far more sinister. The combined forces of the conspiracy, the Fremen rebellion, and Paul's own inner turmoil lead to his downfall. He's blinded in a coordinated attack, which, according to Fremen tradition, means he must face exile in the desert. However, Paul defies expectations. He uses his prescient abilities to navigate the harsh landscape, further solidifying his almost godlike status among some Fremen. As Paul grapples with his fate, tragedy strikes. Chani dies in childbirth, fulfilling one of Paul's terrible visions. But even in death, Chani delivers a glimmer of hope. She gives birth to twins, Leto and Ganima, who possess the same ancestral memory as Paul and Alia. These twins represent a new generation and a potential future beyond Paul's limited foresight. With the birth of his children and the growing rebellion against him, Paul makes a crucial decision. He walks into the desert to face his death, not as the mighty Muad'Dib, but as a broken man. This act serves multiple purposes. It allows him to escape the control of his visions and paves the way for his children's rise to power. It also strengthens the Fremen's faith in him, as they see his willingness to embrace his mortality. Dune Part 3 promises to be a thrilling exploration of power, prophecy, and the perils of fanaticism. With Villeneuve's masterful direction and the captivating world of Arrakis, this next chapter is sure to be a must-see for sci-fi fans. So get ready to return to the desert, embrace the spice, and witness the continuing saga of Paul Atreides.